Hi, my name is Seyifunmi, and I'm just saying, are you usually listening to people talk? Does it give you orgasm? Does it make your heart flutter? Then you're welcome to the right place. If it does, and if you do, just saying. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode. It's still your girl, Seyifunmi, and I'm just saying, hi. Welcome once again. I know it's not simple like, oh, please. But yeah, sorry, you have to forgive me. I haven't released an episode in a while, and I really have no excuse. But have you seen the situation? Things have been so hectic for me. I don't even know where to start. I can't even begin to share. But I just want you to know that this means a lot to me. And I'm so grateful for everyone that listens. And to the people that even give feedbacks, the comments, the reviews, I couldn't be more thankful. I'm so grateful. So, how are you? I like to ask. How we ask, how are you? I don't like the usual, I'm fine. Think about it. How are you really doing? I mean, sometimes we need to sit down with our feelings. I've always said, we need to sit down with our feelings. We need to connect with ourselves. We need to know how we are feeling. That is the only way we're able to really move on from whatever situation we might be in. So, yeah, I do hope you're doing all right. As for me, I'm good. Life is good. God is good. Everything is soft. Yeah, everything is soft. Let's be positive. Affirmative, yes. So while I was away, I heard you people have started to settle. Personally for me, when I hear that people settle in things or relationships, the only thing that comes to my head is romantic relationships. Because, what do you mean? Is there any other relationship people need to settle in? Because I know people want to settle in romantic relationships. They just, meet somebody, they date someone that is not really their type because they think they can't find someone better and all of that. So I've not really thought about the fact that people might be settling in friendships until recently. I was thinking about it. I was like, people are actually settling in friendships. I can share some stories, which I will be sharing anyways. Some, I won't be sharing everything, confidential. But if you have stories, you can share them with me and I can share them in the next episode. And how can you contact me? My IG handles are right there. Wherever you are listening, you can follow me on social media, Just Saying Pod, IG, Just Saying Pod. Everywhere it's Just Saying Pod. And share your stories, share your opinions about this episode. Or you can just comment, write wherever you are listening, the Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere you're listening, you can just put a comment. Yeah, so back to where I was. So people are actually settling in friendships. And this particular episode, it's very close to home for me. And it would probably hit close to home for a lot of us. Because when I talk about settling, I mean that you are choosing a relationship that is not really meeting your expectation. All right? You are choosing a relationship that's not really meeting your expectation rather than go through the hassle of, finding something more fulfilling or meaningful or someone better. You just prefer to stick in what you are familiar and what you are used to. Sometimes you feel like maybe this is the best you can do, or maybe it's the best you can find, or you even go as far as making excuses. You make excuses for why they are treating you a particular way, why they speak to you a certain way. You know deep down that you've outgrown a particular friendship, but that fear of being lonely, it's so hard. You don't even want to move on from that fear. You don't want to leave that relationship. And this episode, I'm going to be extremely careful. I'm trying my best to be extremely careful. I don't even want to say anything about romantic relationships. Because I think the last episode, I was talking about how you owe people basic decency, how we need to, as a society, we need to nullify the notion that you don't owe anyone anything. You don't you don't owe anyone anything, you don't owe families, you don't owe friends. But while we are saying that you do owe people loyalty, you owe your friends decency, you owe people this and that, we need to understand that sometimes, no matter what you owe someone, no matter how much you think maybe, or not even how much, because sometimes when you're actually evaluating your friendship, most times the friend has not actually been there for you. But no matter how long, yes, no matter how long you've known someone, don't think because you've known somebody for 10 years, how can I just move on? No, please. This is why I'm saying this episode as quite close, is going to it's quite close to home, sorry, for me and for everyone that might be listening. If it resonates with you, that's fine. It's because, sometimes we tell ourselves we are keeping people, we are friends with people because of loyalty, or history, we've been friends for so long, or we even say, this person was with me at my lowest. Yes, one thing you need to know is that a friend can actually be with you at your lowest, but they might not really be the friend you need. I had a friendship at a time that, I don't know if I've shared it before, but I had a friend that was always with me whenever I was going through something terrible. This was a friendship I had to evaluate recently. And whenever I had any good thing going on and I shared with this friend, she would always withdraw. This friend would always withdraw from me. She would maybe ignore me. She wouldn't speak to me. And I realized that whenever I was going through something terrible, maybe something happened to me and it was so bad, she's always the first to come to me. Till date, I'm still trying to understand that dynamic. It's not something I fully understand. But I had to test it out. It was something we spoke about. And then she was like, I think she talked to me about how she felt jealous about this and that. And it was shocking because this is someone that had a whole lot going on for her. Like, compared to me, she had a whole lot going on. And I was in so much shock because even when she had a whole lot going on for her than I possibly did, I had never thought to get so jealous that I would be in my feelings whenever she had something good going on, or whenever she shared something beautiful going on for her, or she shared a good news, I would withdraw, I would feel terrible about it. It never happened, and I had to sit down and think about that friendship. So sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes it's familiar. You are there in that friendship because the friendship is familiar. You don't know any other friendship. You don't know any other person. You are used to this person. You have been friends for years. Everybody knows you guys together. So, how could you leave? I mean, that's the thing that comes to people's head. How could I leave? We've been friends. But one thing you need to know is that there are certain points you get to in your life that you need to start reevaluating where you are and who you are with. So, back to my question. Are you people really settling? What's happening? Are you really settling? Because social media says that you need to have a lot of friends. I saw something online on X that said they don't trust someone that has this person. I think the tweet went something like, I can't trust a person that hasn't had any long-lasting friendship. And I laughed because long-lasting friendships, it's plural friendships, so not even one. Long-lasting, that means long-lasting would say maybe a decade. I have to have known them for 10 years. And we have to be close. I have friends I've known for years. 10, 12, maybe 15. Yeah. But how close are we? I think that's the question. Because you are individuals. You move. As you grow, you outgrow certain friendships. It doesn't mean you are no longer in contact. It doesn't mean that there's bad blood. But you need to meet other people that would fit in whatever plan that you have for yourself at a particular time. I mean, they always tell you that you are going to be doing a little bit of forgiveness here and there to have lasting relationships, and because of this, people are just taking anything. I heard of friends that like slap each other, like maybe when sometimes maybe when they have disagreement, to put the other person, there's an alpha, there's a leader, there's a friendship leader. So when you are not doing well, the other friend has the right to slap you back into doing well. I'm taking a pause because I have to I'm thinking about myself being in that kind of situation where a friend has to be putting me in my place like that. I think we're going to be having a problem. So is that the friend I want to be forgiving? Like, you people think I should keep forgiving until I lose all that I am, all my self-worth. Like, have you really thought about it? So basically, you need to relax. You need to relax. And I was listening to a podcast as well recently, and I think, yes, an issue was raised on that podcast I listened to. And the issue was that these days, people are now in friendships where they can't actually tell each other the truth. Where they can't actually say what they really feel to the other person. Now, take this for example. I have a friend. You don't even take it for example. Let me share this real life story with you now. Listen to this now. Listen to this. Everybody close to me knows that I can be very emotional and I can cry. Right? So imagine I went to the market with a friend of mine. I was on my own. She was one that came to me that, they sell hair at a particular place. It's so cheap. So we went. It was so stressful. And I saw so many things that I liked. And if you also know me, you know I like weird things. I like to wear weird stuff. I don't think it's weird. Anyways, it's just unique. So I saw so many things that I really liked. And I got them. And my friend was there. I was really affirming. Do you think this is nice? And she's like, oh, yes, it's amazing. Yeah, I love it. You should get it. I was so piped. I was like, yes, I'm going to look so good in this. I wore this hair. I took a picture. The moment that picture was on my WhatsApp status, if you see the comments, like my family members had to enter my DM. That was happening. Where did I buy this hair? Seyifunmi, where did this hair come from? And I had to look. I was like, it's my hair. I got it. Like, nobody told you the truth when you were buying this hair. You look like I was in shock. And then I was not like, so I contacted my friend. We're hanging out. And I showed her the picture of the hair that I had posted, and she started laughing. She started laughing, and I was more confused. I was like, "What do you mean? Did you tell me this hair was nice?" She was like, you just seemed like you really liked it, so I didn't want to tell you. God, I want Chris. But I was so angry. I was so angry. I was hurt. I was disappointed, but I didn't say anything because that was in my not speaking up era. And I felt really terrible because if we had gone somewhere to get something and you just didn't say the truth because I don't know, the excuse that you did not even want to hurt my feelings is even weird because, sometimes some truth will hurt your feelings, but we need to hear it. Because if the roles were reversed, I would laugh that hair off before you even get it, before you buy it. So, that's the same thing they were saying on that podcast about not being able to say certain things anymore. And people are just there. You go, girl, wow, you look amazing. Dub. And nobody is saying the truth. And I feel like I might be using and a little bit too much. But let's move on. We are just moving. We are just doing these things. We don't even think about how the other person feels. I mean, I get a dress. Let's take a scenario where I go out and I get a dress. It doesn't look good, but you don't want to, in quote, hurt my feelings. You don't tell me the truth. I think that's terrible. And if you are doing that, I think you're a terrible person. Because what do you mean by you don't want to hurt my feelings? Feelings are there. to be hurt. I guess you bounce back from it. At least just remember to be kind. Be kind. Even if their feelings would be hurt, you would have let them off gently. So I think that's one experience that I really had that really, really hurt me. I can't forget it. Because if I had been told at the market, I wouldn't have even bought that hair in the first place. I would have probably bought something better. But because my dear friend didn't want to, in quotes again, hurt my feelings. Now, did my feelings not get hurt? In the harshest way possible, because a lot of people saw it and condemned it. I deleted that picture everywhere and I burnt the wig, because why would I wear that? So basically, we need to choose relationships that are more fulfilling. We need to stop settling. Your friendship is, ask yourself, is it a comfort friendship or you're just compromising? Are you there for yourself? Are you there for a relationship that, it's serving you? Or sometimes you can even be the one that is being settled for. Yeah, you can be the one being settled for. And that's why we actually need to sit down. That's why I always emphasize the need to sit with yourself and actually think about the things you do. Nobody is self-aware from heaven. Nobody. You wake up one day and decide better. Right? So basically, I know it's kind of confusing because sometimes you're in a friendship and maybe your friend does something wrong. Obviously, we are there, we love each other, we are there to forgive each other. It's not everything you cancel your friend about. But sometimes you don't really know how, like the signs that you may be settling. But one thing that has always, there's a sign. One sign that has always given is that you are the one that gives all the time, and this other friend takes from you. I think a friend was talking about how she had a friend, another one. She was sharing a story about another friend that would always come to her house. And whenever that friend comes to her house, she would always go with her own clothes. She would always find one cloth or two that she likes to pack to her house. But every time something important was happening, you never find this friend. Every time they needed to hang out, go to fancy places, this friend was always there. And actually, as I'm saying this thing, something else comes to mind that I might have mentioned before about how people have friends for different purposes. And this is just one of those things. Because if you are just that friend that is cool to hang with in the house, that is cool to send on errands, it's cool to just, do the dishes, to get things for your other friends, but you're not cool to like go out with, to travel with, you might need to reevaluate your friendship. And if you are that friend that is always reaching out, and they are not really doing the same, I understand that sometimes it's hard to keep up. A lot of people don't stay online. A lot of people are not very cool with text, phone calls, but there has to be something. You can't just keep giving and giving. There has to be something. No matter how much you don't like to do something, once in a blue moon, you should do it. So if there's a sign, they do this once in a blue moon, it's fine. But when they don't even do it at all, where is every time that you do it, or sometimes it even looks like it starts to look like you're doing too much, then you probably need to reevaluate that friendship. And sometimes you don't feel safe. I'm talking about signs that you might be settling in your friendship. There's also another sign that you don't feel safe. I saw something on X about someone, I think she posted that she found it difficult to sing. She likes to sing. So she was talking about how she finds it difficult to sing when she's around certain people. So energy might be part of it, but if you are friends, like you've been friends for so long and I cannot sing in front of you, I don't know. I don't think we are friends, though. Because it's a very basic thing. Sing. You can't even sing in front of strangers. So if we are friends and it's hard for me to even lift up my voice to sing in front of you, then it's a big deal. You need to think about what that friendship is about. Then also maybe you think that you are hanging around for the history, for not for what you currently have. Take for example, you've known someone for years, and because you've known that person for years, you think you're just going to keep hanging out. You're going to be hanging out forever. You're not even thinking of what you have right now. I'm going to give an example. I've actually been through a lot because I'm about to say a personal story again. But this one is not really what someone did to me. This is something that I did to someone. And basically, I was so happy that they communicated this with me because we are actually still friends. But we were going through a very weird dynamic in our friendship. She reached out to me a lot. And I think we're friends through uni. Throughout, we're very close friends through uni. Even after we kept in contact, we kept being very close friends. But we stopped talking. And it was weird. We were close. People, what happened? What's the problem? People were asking, but there really wasn't something we could pinpoint. Basically, I just knew that she did something to me that made me withdraw. Okay, so a friend of ours, a mutual friend, now called both of us at separate times. So she reached out to me and she was like, oh, this friend called me. She talked about how you felt. And I owned it. I said yes. And she told me that this was how she felt. She felt that she was always the one calling. She felt like she was like the only one in the friendship. And when she put it like that, I realized that I was also wrong. Because at a point I was thinking she was the one that did me dirty. Not like did dirty, but it was just something weird. A very weird situation. But I realized that she was actually the one in that friendship, not the friendship wasn't serving her any purpose. She was giving, and I wasn't returning any of these things. She was the one reaching out to me. She was the one calling. And it felt so weird because I'm really not the type to not reach out to people. I'm also not the type to not be consistent in text. So it made me realize that maybe at a point I had removed myself from that friendship without informing, without communicating with her. So this might have even happened way before the incident that made me withdraw. And I realized that she was settling. And I really liked how she removed herself. We have gotten back in contact. We have discussed it. And moving on, everybody is, we're all trying to do our best. But if that hadn't happened, if we hadn't communicated again recently, I wouldn't have known that this was what happened. This was what I did wrong. So sometimes that's why I say conversations like that are very important. Another sign that you're settling is that you're probably afraid of being alone. See, I always tell people, if you can't spend time with yourself, you have no business spending time with other people. If you cannot be alone with yourself. People that have always listened to this podcast from the beginning would know that I emphasize being alone with your feelings a lot. If you can't sit with yourself to think, to be with yourself, to actually relate and have a relationship with yourself, it's hard. It's going to be hard for you to be with other people because you're just going to lose yourself and your identity. And who are you if you don't even have an identity? And identity is deeper than your name. It's deeper than what school you went to or the color of your skin. So if you're afraid of being alone, if that is the only reason that you are being friends with a person, you need to sit and reevaluate that friendship. Because being alone is really not a big deal. Until I started to spend more time in solitude, go to places by myself, visit places I've never been to by myself, I thought I could never. I really thought that I could never. And doing that has really boosted my confidence, and it has really helped me to evaluate friendships that I also have. So why? Why do we settle? Why? Why do we settle? You have to ask yourself, are you staying because you genuinely want to be friends with someone, or because that's all you've ever known and it's also hard to remove yourself from it? I mean, I understand the fear of loneliness. It's very hard to make friends. We don't want to start over. Nobody likes to start over. Even, I did mention that I wouldn't say anything about romantic relationships, but even in romantic relationships, nobody. That's why you would see people staying in abusive relationships, people staying in cheating relationships, because they don't want to start over. It's familiar. They believe that nobody is perfect. They believe that no relationship is perfect. So they would rather stay in those relationships, settle. And we need to start making adjustment. We need to start making adjustment. We need to know that friendships are very important, but it shouldn't be so important that you lose yourself. I mean, there's this societal pressure to maintain old bonds. We went to school together, so we have to be friends. So everybody's going to think I'm a bad person if I'm not talking to my best friend from secondary school anymore. No, sorry to break it to you, but nobody's really thinking of you like that. Oh, nobody's really thinking. Nobody's minding your business. You do what's best for you. Nobody is minding your business. You are the owner of your business, and you need to mind it. Okay? So, that societal pressure to maintain old bonds, to maintain old friendships. So, if anyone that doesn't have long-lasting relationship is a bad person, okay. Full stop, period. It's okay. And I understand that low self-esteem comes into play. You feel like you don't deserve better. Oh, this person is even talking to me. I can't believe it. I have to be friends with them. Oh, this... Until you decide that until you yourself decide that you deserve better, you never get better. Yeah. I think that's some wise words right there, but it's the truth. So you need to ask yourself, what am I doing in this relationship? Is this friendship serving me? What purpose is this friendship actually serving? What space am I holding for a friendship that is no longer holding space for me? Am I growing, but my friendship is still stuck in who I used to be? Do I feel energized and supported, or do I feel drained and dismissed? Some of you are in friendships that you cannot even open your mouth to express yourself. You cannot tell your friend that what they're doing is bad, or else they can woes you slap. Or they can even unfriend you, and because you are not confident. That's why you need to ask, are you holding space for friendship that is not holding space for you? I had a friend I was very close with. I'm not even going to lie, she's a girl's girl. She's a very cool friend. Then I realized that we had different, I don't know how to even explain this, but I don't know this realization that actually just happened suddenly. I just realized that this is the kind of life that I want for myself. I mean, we're talking about it, and I was like, oh, this is what I want. Because we're actually I think we're talking about dating. And I was talking about how a specific group of guys do not appeal to me. And she was talking about how they were a type and all of that. And whenever we had to hang out, we usually went to places where you would meet these people. And it felt like if I keep going to these places without expressing myself, this is the life I would end up following. Because sometimes you know that some things are bad. You know that some things are not worth your time. But when it's something that you are exposed to, every single time you also start to do it. It's like a psychology thing. And we're actually still very cool friends, but I had to make up my mind to express myself about not doing this particular thing. So sometimes we need to speak up in friendships. Some people are in friendships where they can't even speak up. And I really hope that you find the courage to do that. To be honest, I really hope so. I know how hard that can actually be. I know how hard it is to speak up. I know how hard it is to remove yourself from situations that don't serve you. But you need to know that it's a privilege to be with you as well. It's a privilege to be with you. And while I'm talking to everyone about settling or not settling, I hope some people also know that they need to watch out. You need to also watch out so that you're not the friend that is being settled for. You're not the one that is actually that's taking and not giving. And we're all learning. So before we wrap up, there's something I want to share, something to sit with. So you can ask yourself, if I met this friend today with who I am right now, if I met this particular friend today with who I am right now, would I still choose them? Would I still want to be their friend? Right? Would I still want to be in the same circle with them? And that's something you need to take a moment and really think about. So you don't actually have to have all the answers. You don't need to sit to have all the realizations. Even I am still finding out certain things. And I've also been in situations where people have expressed how they weren't comfortable in some friendships. So being able to take this kind of feedback actually helps build you, because it makes your friendship better. If you can't take feedback from your friends, then there's a problem. It makes your friendship better. So awareness is the first step towards alignment. The first step towards alignment is your self-awareness. You need to be aware. So remember that you deserve friendships that feel like mutual presence. Friendships that feels like mutual presence, where you both have an understanding. You both have a level of what's it called? Of affection that's mutual, and it's not just persistent presence. People should be clapping. God, I'm dropping wise words here. Hey. But to be honest, this is deep stuff, and you need to be sure that this friendship is towards a deep level of mutual presence, agreement, alignment, and not just your own persistent presence where you are the one attaching. Big. Please do better. Please. Let's do better. Okay? Let's do better. And I actually have some questions that I saved here. So they are like prompts you can use for yourself. They're like prompts. You can use them to reevaluate your friendships. So the first one is, what friendships currently feel one-sided? Think about your friendships. Which of your friendships right now currently feel one-sided? And then another question, when you figure that out, then you move to the next one. When was the last time I felt fully supported by this friend? Do I feel safe and seen in this friendship? Am I staying because of love or out of guilt, history, or fear? And what would it look like to lovingly release or reset this friendship? Most of the friends that I have, we've done a lot of loving reset, in the sense that we have come together, we have said things that are not really serving us, and we've reevaluated and we have come back. I don't even think I have any friend I have totally cut off, because we always come back to reevaluate, come back to the same place, and we're all just growing together. And I really hope that you have friends like that as well. So some of you might, like I said earlier, some people might be settling, and some of you might be the one being settled for. And ask yourself also, do I make my friends feel safe? So that way you know that you're not the one being settled for. You can even ask your friends. It's something you can communicate with your friends. The way you people communicate in romantic relationships, I wish we can communicate in friendships like that. We can be that vulnerable in friendships, and you watch your friendships get really better. Ask yourself, well, why do I make my friends feel safe? Do I make my friends feel seen? Can my friends talk to me? Can my friends share deep, dark secrets with me and trust me to keep those secrets? Because some of you. So, what kind of friend do I want to be going forward? What kind of friendships do I want to attract? So, yeah, that's basically all I have for you this episode. Because I've been doing lots of deep thinking, and this got me really, really thinking so bad. I really hope that a lot of us can do better. We can start, doing things that serve us. So vulnerable people should move with vulnerable people. Let's say vulnerable, yeah. And the hard boys and girls should move with their hard selves. Let's all, come together and have good life experiences, to be honest. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. Appreciate your presence and your patience every single time you listen. I'm very grateful for that. I'm just usually here yapping. And remember that I'm an individual with my own opinions, which aren't always perfect. So listen with an open mind and be very patient. Thank you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If you really enjoyed this episode, share with your friends. You can share with your friends to listen, and let's all evaluate our friendships together. Share with your family. Yeah, you can be friends with your family as well. Some of us grew up being friends with our cousins, and we just never had any outside friends. So yeah, share. Remember that this podcast is also on YouTube, so you can find this episode on YouTube as well. Remember to also like, subscribe, and share. Also remember that you can comment, you can send messages. If you want to collaborate, if you have something you'd like to share, you can also reach me on any of the social media handle. Thank you for choosing Just Saying. Bye. See you very soon.